Good morning. Welcome to the online class of biology class 10th. Today we are going to start the third session. In the last session, I had explained you about composition of blood. That was a composition of blood, plasma. I had explained you about hemoglobin. We discussed about life and death of RBCs, and we also discussed about WBCs, the types of leukocytes, that is a type of WBCs, that is granulocytes and agranulocytes, and we have seen the different types of granulocytes and agranulocytes. Okay, that were acidophils, basophils, neutrophils in the case of the granulocytes, and in the case of agranulocytes we had seen the agranular leukocytes that included the lymphocytes and the monocytes. Okay, I also explained you about the origin and life of WBCs, function of leukocytes, that is the WBCs, that included phagocytosis, inflammation, pus formation of antibodies, and confer immunity. How do they confer immunity or bring about immunity in the body of the human beings? Then at last we had also seen the antigen antibody reaction and how does a body attains immunity with the help of that. Along with that, I had also given you some homework questions that I hope you might have done those questions in your copy. Okay, to find out the answer, you may refer the text, or you may understand the text that understand the lecture that I provide to you, that I give to you. Okay, so from that itself, one more important information that I need to pass is that from the next week we will be having online classes also. Okay, live lectures. Okay, so after listening the lecture, that is the prepared lecture, you may also have the time which is prescribed in the timetable. On the Saturday, basically in the 4th period, we will be having a biology class. Along with that, we will have a live session. Okay, so whatever doubt you will have, we can discuss with that in that live session. Okay, so today, in today's session, that is session 3, what are we going to study? Basically, we will be studying about the blood platelets, that is called as the thrombocytes. The other name of blood platelets is thrombocytes. These are the initiators of clotting of blood. Why does clotting takes place? To prevent the excess flow of blood from the body. That will be explained to you as I will move on with the topic. Then, what are the functions of platelets? We will be discussing about the various functions of platelets. Then how does clotting of blood or coagulation of blood takes place? We will be understanding that the procedure, how does this clotting of blood takes place, and what is the importance of this clotting of blood in the human body. Furthermore, we will be also seeing the main reaction in blood clotting. Okay, there are certain reaction, biochemical reaction that are taking place in the body. Okay, that results into the formation of clot. Okay, after that we will be seeing blood transfusion and blood groups. Okay, as you all know, how does blood transfusion, when it is done, when somebody requires blood during in the case of emergency, during surgical operations, or when a person meets an accident. Okay, at that time blood needs to be supplied to the body, and that is carried out through blood transfusion. We will be understanding about the blood groups. Okay, the types of blood groups which are present in the humans. We will be understanding about the ABO system. What is this ABO system? That will determine the blood groups. Along with that, we will also see the RH system. Okay, what is this RH system? And RH factor in the case of pregnancy. What role does RH factor plays in the case of pregnancy? Okay, so these all things we will be seeing. Okay, and that we will be studying with the help of PowerPoint presentation. Chapter 8, the circulatory system. It's a continuation and session 3. So what are we going to study today? Where we will be seeing about blood platelets, that is the thrombocytes. We will be seeing the functions of platelets, blood clotting in a test tube, blood transfusion and blood groups, ABO system, RH system, RH in pregnancy. So these are the things we will be seeing today. So let us start with the first topic, that is blood platelets, which are also termed as thrombocytes. Blood platelets are also termed as the initiators of clotting of blood because they bring about clotting. Whenever we get a cut or a wound, blood starts to come out from that point. But you may have seen after some time blood stops. Why does the blood stops? Because of the formation of a clot. Because of the formation of a clot, okay, which prevents the further flow of the blood. Blood platelets are minute oval or round structures. These are non-nucleated, means they don't possess nucleus, and they are found floating in the blood. The platelets, from where are they formed? They are derived from some giant cells. These giant cells are called megakaryocytes, and these megakaryocytes are present in the red bone marrow. How are they formed? These platelets, these are budded off. They bud off, okay, from the megakaryocytes. Means megakaryocyte cells are there. From that budding starts, okay. From that it buds off. It comes out in the form of bud, and then it gets detached, okay, from the megakaryocytes in a manner that each one is completely surrounded with a membrane. So when it buds off from the megakaryocytes, at that time itself it possesses, or it gets surrounded by membrane. The lifespan of platelets is about 3 to 5 days, and these platelets are destroyed in the graveyard, okay. That is, graveyard means the graveyard of the body, that is called as the spleen, okay. So spleen plays a very important role, okay, and it's a lymphatic organ. Along with it being a lymphatic organ, it also acts as a graveyard for platelets, where destruction or the platelets or the dead platelets are destroyed. They are very important in the clotting of blood. These platelets bring about the clotting of blood. What actually happens at the site of injury, when any person gets injured or any kind of wound, what happens? The platelets disintegrate to release a chemical substance called thrombokinase. It is the platelets, it is the duty of the platelets which will disintegrate, okay, and it will start to release a chemical. The name of that chemical is thrombokinase. This initiates the process of clotting. This thrombokinase this is the chemical thrombokinase, which will initiate the process of clotting of blood. Initiates means it will start the process of clotting. What are the functions of platelets? Clotting of blood, or it brings about coagulation of blood. Why it is important? Because suppose excess of blood, when blood starts to flow and there is no check, suppose what will happen? Due to excess flow, a person may die. That may also lead to this excess flow of blood can lead to death. So it prevents the body or the living body from death. When a blood vessel is cut, blood starts to escape from it. Soon a clot is formed on the wound and the flow of blood is stopped. You may have seen whenever you get a wound or a cut, what happens? Blood starts to ooze out. But does that blood keeps on flowing out forever? No. After some time it stops. What makes it to stop? It is the formation of clot. Okay, it is a formation of clot or a barrier. Actually, this clot acts as a barrier. It forms a barrier and prevents the further flow of blood out from the body. Clotting, it is also termed as coagulation. This occurs in a series of steps. So let us see what are the steps that ultimately result in the formation of a clot. Or how does this formation of coagulation takes place? First of all, as we all know, the injured tissue cells and the platelets which disintegrate at the site of the wound, they will release a special type of chemical, and that chemical is called as thrombokinase. This thrombokinase is the initiator of clotting of blood, or it brings about coagulation. This is very important chemical you need to keep in mind. Okay, the chemical which initiates which starts the clotting of blood. This thrombokinase is also called as by the name thromboplastin. This is another name. More recently, it is also termed as factor S or Stuart factor. These are the other names of this thrombokinase. The thrombokinase acts as an enzyme. So this thrombokinase will start to function like an enzyme, and with the help of calcium ions. Now this calcium, this mineral calcium is also very important, okay, for the formation of blood. So if there is a deficiency of calcium, that will result in the clotting of blood will not take place fast. Okay, so that you have to keep in mind. So this thrombokinase, it will act as an enzyme with the help of calcium ions. Where are these calcium ions present? They are present in the plasma of the blood. It converts a substance prothrombin, okay, the inactive form of the plasma, the plasma, that is prothrombin. It gets converted into an active form, that is thrombin. What converts this thrombin? What converts this prothrombin into active thrombin? It is the thrombokinase, along with the help of calcium ions. Okay, so that will convert the inactive prothrombin of the plasma into active thrombin. What happens next? Let's see. Vitamin K. See, this vitamin K is also very important in order to bring about the process of clotting or to bring about coagulation. Vitamin K, a fat-soluble vitamin, is also essential for the production of prothrombin. So this prothrombin, okay, it will be produced by the presence of this vitamin K. Okay, so suppose a person is having deficiency of vitamin K, what will happen? The prothrombin production will cease, or it will be very slow. That will also directly affect the clotting or coagulation of blood. Okay, so we have seen chemical in this chemical reaction that vitamin K is very important and mineral calcium is also very important. The third step, thrombin. What is this thrombin? The active form of prothrombin. Okay, how does it get its active nature? As inactive form, that is prothrombin. In the presence of calcium, it gets into active thrombin. Okay, then what happens? Thrombin, in the presence of calcium ion, it will react with soluble fibrinogen of the plasma. In the plasma, soluble protein that is called as fibrinogen is present. Okay, so in the presence of calcium ion, this calcium ion will react with the soluble fibrinogen of the plasma, and it will convert it into insoluble fibrin. Okay, fibrinogen will react with calcium and it will form insoluble fibrin. When it will become insoluble, you can see it when it is soluble, you cannot see it in the blood clearly, but as soon as it becomes insoluble, you can see it in the blood. Fibrin is a solid substance that forms thread. Okay, when it becomes insoluble, it forms thread-like structures. These microscopic threads of fibrin, these are sticky in nature and form a network. That means it will form a mesh, and at the wound it will form a mesh, or what you can say in Hindi we call it jali. Okay, it will form a network or mesh at the place of the wound. These microscopic threads, these microscopic threads are made up of fibrin, insoluble fibrin. Okay, then what will happen? At the fourth step, blood cells are trapped in this mesh. Okay, the mesh which is formed by the fibrin, into that blood cells are trapped. Okay, they get clogged in the network of fibrin. The network that shrinks, then soon after that what will happen? That network will start to shrink, As soon as it will shrink, it will squeeze out rest of the plasma. Due to the shrinkage, the plasma will be squeezed out, the plasma will be released. Okay, rest of the plasma gets squeezed out, which is in a clear liquid form, and we will find a clear liquid oozes out. That is the serum now. Okay, so this will the clear liquid which squeezes out. Okay, when this network shrinks, that is called as the serum. The solid mass which is left behind is called clot or thrombus. So what will happen now? The solid mass which is left afterwards, okay, after the shrinkage, after the squeezing out of the plasma which has converted into serum, okay, after that a solid mass will be left, okay, and this solid mass is only termed as a clot or thrombus. So you can see here in the diagram which represents the clotting of blood. Here you can see the vessel is damaged, a damaged vessel you can see here, and when a cell gets damaged, blood starts to ooze out, blood will start to come out through this wound or through this injured part. Okay, so what will happen with the platelets you can see they will come and take this place. Okay, platelets form a plug, platelets will come here, they will form a plug. Okay, threads of fibrin, they will form, insoluble fibrin will be formed, threads of fibrin that is insoluble in nature. Okay, and they will start to trap the RBCs. Okay, red blood corpuscles will get trapped. Okay, so after trapping of these RBCs, what will happen? It will prevent the further flow, or the blood will not ooze out now. Okay, and therefore a clot is formed in this way. So the main reaction in the blood clotting, what are the main reactions that are taking place during the clotting of the blood? Injured tissue cells and platelets, they will release a chemical that is called as thrombokinase. I had told you the other name of thrombokinase also, thromboplastin Stuart factor or factor X. Then this factor S, Stuart factor, thromboplastin or thrombokinase, that will convert the inactive prothrombin into active thrombin. Okay, inactive form of inactive found in the blood plasma. Okay, then in the presence of calcium, and calcium ion is also very important, then what will happen? This thrombokinase will convert this inactive form of prothrombin into active thrombin form. Okay, now what is the form, or what is the function of this thrombin? This thrombin again in the presence of this calcium ion will convert fibrinogen, which is found in the blood plasma in soluble form. Okay, fibrinogen is solubilized in the blood. So in the presence of calcium ion, thrombin will convert this soluble fibrinogen into insoluble fibrin. This fibrin will only form thread-like structures, sticky thread-like structures. That these thread-like structures will form a network of sticky threads that will start to collect the RBCs. RBCs will start to accumulate at this place, and in this way a clot is resulted. So these are the main reaction that takes place, that has been diagrammatically represented, okay, in this figure. Okay, then what is the fate of blood in the in blood clotting? You can see blood is composed of corpuscles and plasma. The plasma is having serum and fibrin. The fibrin and the corpuscles, they both combine together and they will form the clot, whereas the liquid part that will ooze out, that will form the serum from the plasma. This is the fate of the blood clotting. So how does blood clotting takes place in a test tube? Let's see. When some blood, suppose you take some blood in a test tube, you will find a clot is formed. In a usual way, it forms a clot. The serum is squeezed out from the clot, collects on the surface. The serum will form a clot, and it will collect on the surface, and bottom serum you will find the liquid, the clot you can see as in the diagram. If you suppose in an open test tube you place some blood, okay, so what you will see, the serum gets collected. Okay, it's what you can say pale yellow color liquid, whereas the clot will settle down. Okay, will be formed if it is left. And if you take a test tube filled with blood, and this you can see left coagulated blood, The fresh clot consists of fibrin strands, corpuscles and serum, that you can see in the left. In the right you can see in the left this one, and in the right you can see coagulated blood after staying for some time. After, when you keep it for some time, what happens? A clot is formed. You can see here clot has separated from the serum. Now one may think that when blood comes in contact with air, it forms clot. This is actually a wrong notion. Okay, it's a wrong notion that clotting depends on the exposure of blood to air. It is not that blood when comes in contact to air, it forms clotting. In fact, what is the basic reason behind that? Clotting is caused, or it can be caused by the movement of blood. Sometimes what happens in our body itself, where everything is packed, what happens? The clotting of blood is resulted when the blood starts to pass over rough surfaces in the inner lining of the tissues or the inner lining of the vessel. Suppose there is large deposition of cholesterol takes place, so upon it will not give a smooth movement of the blood, rather it will provide a rough surface as the cholesterol. Okay, cholesterol will deposit on the inside of the blood tissue, due to which when it will not provide what you can say a smooth movement due to the rough surfaces. What will happen? Clottings are formed inside the body. Hemophilia is a genetic disorder in which blood does not clot properly. Okay, this is a problem. It is basically a genetic disorder. Okay, you have also studied about hemophilia. I had explained you in the chapter genetics what actually happens. It is also termed as bleeder's disease. Suppose a person gets wound, what will happen? The bleeding will not cease. The bleeding does not stop, but it continues. Okay, blood does not clot properly due to lack of blood clotting protein. Actually, the blood clotting protein is not formed in the body, and that due to which the body is unable to form clot, and such kind of disease is termed as hemophilia. In cases where the number of platelets falls to an abnormally low count, coagulation occurs very slowly. Suppose the blood clot, platelets, the formation of new blood platelets falls, or it does not takes place. So what will happen? There will be a low count of platelets in the blood. Okay, and that will result in what happens? What will happen? The coagulation or clotting of the blood will become very slow, because platelets only bring about clotting of the blood. This often leads to hemorrhage. Okay, so this internal clotting will take place, and that will result into hemorrhage. Such a situation occurs in a disease like viral dengue fever. You might have heard about the dengue fever. So such a case happens when in this viral dengue fever, what actually happens? The platelet count abnormally reduces too much. Okay, it reduces, it becomes very less. Due to the lack of platelets, this clot formation will not take place, due to which what will happen? Internal hemorrhage will take place, that can prove to be fatal, or that leads to the death of the patient suffering from the particular disease. Viral dengue fever has taken hundreds of lives in Delhi and other states of India since 1996. Let us see the next topic for the day, that is blood transfusion and blood groups, where we will be basically understanding about the ABO system and the RH system of the blood. Sometimes it becomes necessary to inject blood into the body of patients undergoing surgical operations. Whenever a surgical operation is taking place due to excessive loss of blood, sometimes blood transfusion is necessary, or injection of the blood is artificially it is transferred from one's body to the other's body. The body which gives the blood is called as a donor body, and the body which receives is called as the recipient body. Okay, so that usually happens during certain surgical operations, or sometimes suppose a person makes an accident and there is excessive loss of blood. In that case also this blood transfusion is carried out. This is called as blood transfusion. Blood taken from a healthy person, that is donor, is introduced through one of the patient's vein. As I have told you, the healthy person who donates, who gives the blood is termed as donor. Okay, from the vein, from one of the vein of that donor's body, okay, blood is taken out and it is collected in a closed bottle. But it is necessary that the kind or the type of blood be transfused should be matched, or it should be compatible with the type of blood of the receiving person. Now one thing one must keep in mind always, that before transfusion of blood, the matching of the blood should be done. Okay, this matching of the blood, because if the blood is not compatible, if the blood does not matches, okay, that will result into clumping of blood. Okay, and ultimately that may lead to the death of the patient. So that is very necessary that before transfusion of blood, okay, the compatibility must be checked, or the matching of the blood should be carried out. Okay, the blood matching should be done. The concept of blood grouping was first of all discovered by Karl Landsteiner. Okay, you need to keep the name of this scientist in your mind. This scientist only discovered the concept of blood grouping. RBCs of human beings have specific proteins on their surface. If you microscopically, if you observe the structure of RBCs, you will find there are some specific proteins, okay, which give specific nature to the RBCs. These proteins are called as antigens. In humans, there are two types of antigens. What are these two types of antigen? First is antigen A and the second one is antigen B. The plasma of the blood contains complementary proteins. Okay, so the plasma will contain, RBC are containing antigen, and plasma will contain complementary proteins, and these complementary proteins are termed as antibodies. Depending upon the presence or absence of the type of antigens, okay, means the type of antigens which are present and the type of antibodies which are present, there are 4 blood groups as shown in the table. Let's see what are these. You can see in this table the blood, there are 4 blood groups. What are those 4 blood groups? Blood group A, B, AB and O. So we will find what is present in each of the, what makes them difference, what is present and what is absent. Okay, in blood group A, first of all we will be seeing this antigen on RBC. Antigen A is present, and where is antibody present? It is present in the plasma. So in a blood group A, antigen A is present and antibody B is present. In the case of blood group B, antigen B is present and antibody A is present. In the case of blood group AB, both the antigens, that is A and B, both the antigens are present, whereas no antibodies for the particular antigens are present in the plasma of this AB, a person having blood group AB. Now coming to the last type of blood group, that is O. Okay, here no antigen is present on the RBC, whereas in the plasma both antibody A and antibody B both are present. So this is a very important what you can say table that you need to keep in mind. How you will remember this? Blood group A, first we have studied about antigen, so A will be present. Blood group B, first for B is there, antigen B is present. For antigen A, the type of antibody in the plasma will be B. For antigen B in blood group B, the type of antibody will be A. In the case of AB, both the antigens A and B are present, whereas when both the antigens are present, no antibody will be present. In the case of O, no antigens are present on the surface of the RBC. Okay, whereas in the plasma both antibody A and antibody B are present. So this you will keep in mind. ABO and RH system. There are several systems of blood grouping. Two of them, that is ABO system and RH system, are the most important that you need to know, that is there in your course. According to the ABO system, the human blood is classified into 4 types. What are those 4 types? Already I have told you: A, B, AB and O. Besides, the transfusion of one's own type of blood, means from a person having a blood group A can give or donate a blood donate his blood to another person having blood group A. It's very simple. Okay, AB can give to AB. There are some other possibilities also, means other transfusion possibilities are also can be made as follows. Like a person having blood group O. A person having blood group O is termed as a universal donor. Why it is termed as universal donor? Because this O can donate the blood to A also, it can donate the blood to AB also, and it can donate the blood to B also, blood group B also. Okay, whereas AB, if we talk about, AB can take the blood from O also, and it can take from A also, and it can take from the blood from B also. What is the reason behind it? The reason is AB is having both the antigens A and B, whereas in O no antigens are present. Okay, since AB, a person having a blood group AB can take blood from all the rest or all the 3 kinds of blood groups, it is termed as universal recipient. O type of blood can be given to persons of all types of blood. That is, it can be given to a person having blood group O, a person having blood group A, a person having B, and as well as a person having blood group AB. A person with O type is called universal donor. A person with AB type of blood can receive blood from all types, that is from blood group AB, A, B and O. Such a person is called a universal recipient. This table is a summary of ABO blood group matching compatibility. Okay, you can see here blood group of donor, the person who gives blood A, B, AB, O, where O is a universal donor. Person, a blood group of recipient A, B, AB and O, where AB is a universal recipient. So what we can see, A can give blood to A cannot give blood to B, A can give blood to AB, and A cannot give blood to O. In the second case we will see B cannot give the blood to A, B can give the blood to B, B can give the blood to AB, and B cannot give the blood to O. Then coming to AB, AB cannot give the blood to A, AB cannot give the blood to B, AB can give the blood to AB, and AB cannot give the blood to O also. Okay, so it can take the blood, AB can take the blood from all the groups, but it can only give the blood to AB only. Okay, then O, which is the universal donor, it can give the blood to A, it can give the blood to B as well, as well as AB, and at last O also, and that is the reason it is termed as a universal donor. Next thing that we are going to see is RH system. The blood of most people contains a substance, and that substance is termed as RH factor. Now what does this RH stands for? This RH stands for rhesus. It comes from the word rhesus, which is a common type of monkey, rhesus monkey. Okay, but why is the name given rhesus? Because it was first of all discovered in the monkey itself, in which this factor was first of all discovered. From that only it has got the name RH. When the blood of such an individual, okay, which is having RH positive, is transferred to a person lacking it, okay, a person who will have this what you can say factor, okay, that will be termed as Rh positive, whereas a person who will lack this factor, that will termed as Rh negative. Suppose A positive means A blood group and that is having this Rh factor is present. A negative means a person having blood group A and this Rh factor is absent. Understood? When the blood of such an individual, that is Rh positive, is transferred to a person lacking it, that is Rh negative, the blood of recipient develops antibody. So what will happen? Since the body is not acclimatized, okay, the blood of the recipient, the person who receives the blood, starts to develop antibody for that Rh substance. For that Rh substance will be a foreign substance. So the body of the recipient will start to develop antibody for that Rh substance. Okay, when it gets sensitized, as soon as it gets sensitized, it will start to form the antibody for that Rh factor within about 2 weeks or within about 2 weeks of transfusion. Okay, means after the transfusion, when it is done, okay, when transfusion is brought about, what will happen? This Rh substance getting sensitized, in 2 weeks it will start to form the antibodies. Now, if a second transfusion be given to such an Rh negative person, now after some time, again the same second transfusion is given to such an Rh negative person, the antibodies which were produced at the first time when the first transfusion was carried out, antibodies were formed. The antibodies produced by the first transfusion, it will cause reaction with the transferred blood. So the blood which will be transferred the second time, that will form a reaction. It will carry out a reaction. Okay, the antibodies will start to form. It will create a reaction. Okay, and this may lead to death. Actually, what will happen? Clumping of blood may take place, and due to which it may prove to be fatal for that person. That is why it is very important to not only to match the blood group but also to match the Rh factor. Means a person having a blood group A positive can give blood to A positive only. Okay, that is why it is checked earlier. This what you can say, right now that we have seen universal donor and universal recipient, means AB, as it was given from all the type of blood groups it was given. Now it is not followed. AB positive will only give blood to AB positive, B positive will only give to B positive, O negative will give to O negative, and so on. That is being followed now strictly. This is similar to the development of an allergy. This is how the development of allergy also takes place in the body. Suppose, how does allergy takes place in the body? A foreign substance enters in the body body gets sensitized, it starts to form the antibodies against that. Okay. Rh incompatibility during pregnancy. So during pregnancy also, when Rh is incompatible, there are certain problems that arise. Okay, so let us see what is that problem. During pregnancy, the Rh positive fetus and Rh negative mother stimulates formation of antibody. Suppose the fetus which is produced inside the womb of a mother, the mother's blood is Rh negative. Okay, and the fetus blood is Rh positive. Now one may think that how fetus will get the positive Rh. It is possible when the father is having positive Rh. Okay, Rh factor positive. Okay, that is why the fetus is also having Rh factor positive. Okay, so what will happen in this case? The fetus is having positive Rh factor and the mother is having negative Rh factor. So this positive Rh factor will stimulate the formation of antibodies in the mother's blood. So when it will stimulate the formation of antibodies will be formed. So during the first pregnancy, enough antibodies are not produced. So at the time of first pregnancy, means that much of antibodies are not formed that can harm the fetus. Okay, so the first delivery or the first pregnancy will be normal, means nothing will happen to the child, means the child will be normal. But during the second pregnancy, what will happen during the second pregnancy? Okay, if the fetus is again Rh positive. Again, suppose the fetus the second time is Rh positive. Already the mother's body is having antibodies, okay, which were formed during the pregnancy of the first fetus. Okay, so those antibodies, more antibodies are added to the mother's blood this time. So now the amount of antibodies is more or enormous. A large number of RBCs of the fetus will get destroyed due to clumping. So this the presence of large number of these antibodies will bring about clumping of RBCs in the body of the fetus, and due to this clumping, okay, what will happen? That may result into very serious conditions. This causes hemolysis of blood. Lysis means breaking or bursting, or what the heme part, that the lysis of the heme part of the blood, that will take place in the fetus, and that may result into a condition which is called as erythroblastosis fetalis, okay, which may also lead to sometimes death. Sometimes in acute condition it may also lead to hemolytic jaundice. This erythroblastosis fetalis is also termed as hemolytic jaundice or acute anemia in the newborn. The newborn, it may also result into acute anemia, and that is the reason that nowadays that before marriages are conducted, blood groups are also, matching of the blood group is carried out in various advanced countries. So this was all about the today's lecture. Okay, in today's lecture, as I have told you about it, I had focused basically on blood platelets. Okay, I had explained you about the functions of blood, clotting of blood, main reactions in blood clotting, then blood clotting in a test tube, how does it takes place, then transfusion of blood, then the blood groups, ABO system, RH system, RH factor in pregnancy. So in regard with this topic, there are some questions that I have set. These questions you need to write in your copies. Okay, find out the answers of these questions and write the answers in your copy. Okay, so the first question is, who discovered ABO blood groups? So you need to write the name of that person who discovered ABO blood group. The very next question is, which vitamin is essential for clotting? So you need to name give the name of that vitamin which is essential for clotting. Next one, what is prothrombin? So that also you need to explain what is prothrombin. It has been explained to you during lecture. And the last question is, which blood groups RBCs are without antigen? So that you need to tell that the name of that blood group where RBCs are lacking antigens. So these are the homework questions that you need to write in your copy. So again, I would like to remind you that from the next week, okay, when we'll be following the new timetable, there will be online or live lectures, okay, that will be given, okay, just after this lecture. Means pre-prepared lecture will be there, and after that I will come live. Okay, so we will have a live conversation. So if there is any queries, we can sort out at that time. Okay, so this was all for the day. Have a nice day ahead. Goodbye.